theory being that you would take the Amendment 7 money and then you would get rid of the gas tax, and then people that.
What does it
use
say
it
about
would
the
go-
federal gas tax? Can that be increased?
We do not control the federal.
So
gas
that
tax.
could possibly be increased with this tax.
It's possible.
And they are definitely talking about increasing the federal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a question about these one-lane bridges. Now, we have a farm, and there's a one-lane bridge that is just a perfect bridge for that, for out there in Altenburg area. How do you decide when a one-lane bridge needs to be made over? I mean, there's not that much traffic out there. It's worked for years. Why would you even think about it?
We inspect our bridges once every 2 years. Every bridge gets inspected once every 2 years. We have a rating system on our bridges. We looked at trying to replace some one-lane and narrow bridges. First thing we did was said, okay, let's go out there, let's pick out our worst ones. So we looked in every bridge that had a rating of 3 on a scale of 9. If they had 3 or less, let's look at replacing. So we kind of set aside how much money we thought we could spend on replacing.
So it
bridges.
wasn't because of it wasn't, was traffic on it one of the deciding factors?
It was.
Okay.
The condition 3 bridges we looked at and said, we got enough money, set aside, we can replace all of the number 3 bridges. Then we stepped up and said, okay, which ones are rated condition 4? That was a condition 4 bridge. That's when we started looking at traffic volumes, accident history, and started to pick and choose, okay, which bridge makes the most sense to do. And so that's how we ended up with the very non-long.
We understand that many of the bridges were considered of a low-level inspection grade because they were one lane only. Had nothing to do with the physical condition of the bridge itself because of either federal or other state guidelines. They were automatically put in the stepchild basket simply because they were one lane. Is that correct?
We have what's called structurally deficient bridges. We have functionally obsolete bridges. A functionally obsolete bridge would be one that is too narrow.
A perfect bridge but too narrow.
Perfect bridge, but too narrow.
Okay.
My understanding is that we looked at the conditions of the bridges, how they're rated as far as condition, not as far as whether it's functionally obsolete.
Where did the functionality problem come in? Where did that number the bridge? And how many of those fell within that because of the functionality problem?
I don't know. I don't know the number.
Okay. Somebody jump on him, I'll shut up.
This sales tax also increases the use tax also.
I don't mean the use tax.
The use tax is part of the bill,
Is that part of the
an
bill?
increase in the use tax, yeah.
I guess I'm not familiar with what you're referring to as far as use tax. There's a fuel tax.
Use tax,
There's a use tax on anything you buy out of state, like a car, and you get charged a 4.225% tax. Well, that's going to go up too.
That is-
It'll be 4.3, I guess.
Yeah, that 0.75% will be added to the use tax as well as the rest.
And the money that's raised in this district doesn't necessarily stay in this district.
That's correct. But you may or may not, you might produce more and give away some, or it might be vice versa too.
Well, I'd imagine Kansas City, St. Louis, the bigger cities are going to get most of it.
We followed our funding distribution that is used for all of the fuel tax money. We use the same distribution for this, outside the fact that we pull off money to help build I-7. But as far as the money going to St. Louis, the money going to Southeast District.
How much is that I-70 funding?
What's coming out of the Amendment 7 would be $500 million over 10 years.
Is that adding a new lane or just keeping it as is?
That is adding a 3rd lane all the way across. My understanding is to complete all that, MoDOT also has some bonding authority. They will do some more bonding to make sure and get the 3 lanes all the way across. But as
So
far
it'll
as
be on top of the $289 million.
That's my understanding. I don't know exactly how the bonding works and what authority we have to do that. All I know is that of the Amendment 7 money, $500 million will come out.
Okay, I don't know what the budget is for the DOT, but let's say it's $1 billion a year. So this tax raise is $540 million. So they now have $1,540 million every year, or do some of the general funds, general taxes that fund DOT get taken away for other projects?
I think that's what she was talking about. We can't decrease the fuel tax.
I know that, but there's other funds.
There is no general funding going to the Missouri Department of
It's like
Transportation.
$1 million a year. So it's very small in
So
comparison.
we'll just have, what is the budget right now?
$2.3 billion in fiscal 2013, according to the document I got up there. This is one of your documents on the town.
Yeah, they said
And
that's the average.
a lot of the numbers that I'm quoting are construction dollars in the program that we are as far as building. I'm sure that factors in the salaries and everything.
Well, that's, I mean, even though it's just for the roads, that's almost 20%, over 20% increase in funding with the new tax, right?
And I think it's important to note that MoDOT, we didn't decide how much or anything like that. We presented, the problems that we face, the needs, and the legislator has decided, 0.75% sales tax.
Why don't they just raise the sales tax or gas tax until this gets funded and they can lower it later? Because what happens when you have a 10-year tax, then at the end of 9 years, you say, well, let's vote to continue the 10-year tax. It's not a tax increase, you're just continuing an existing tax. Happens every single time.
They wouldn't do that, come on.
City of Cape does it every 5 years. Everyone just continues.
Including this year.
Yeah, because it's not an increase. I mean, that would seem to, that way you get your money you need, and then if you don't need the money, you can lower it, but.
No, they get the money they want, not necessarily that they need.
And that is how this is set up. It would be automatically on the ballot to be re-voted on.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is we all have here is, MoDOT should be taking care of the highways. The local people should be putting in bike paths if they want. That's what the people want. We don't want our tax dollars for gas taxes.
And I think it's important to note that there aren't many bike paths on our project list.
There is one.
There is one in Cape.
There's at least one.
There's a
more.
project in Williamsville.
Yeah,
for
in the
pede- for
southeast district,
pedestrians.
there's several.
And you guys have to keep that up now, right? The bike path, the route.
Junior, the locale's gonna have to keep it
You guys
up.
have to go in and fix it.
That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer.
Well, you have to upkeep it.
I sort of assume that the city of Cape would do that, but I don't know that for sure. That's a good question.
I think I kind of agree with him that right now everything, the groceries, everything, and now possibly the gas itself is supposed to. And then they're taking away our local, the way that they're doing utilities, our utilities is going up, they're projected to go up possibly more. The grocery store, I think that it's more feasible if MoDOT wants the money, if they need the money, like he said, just the gas tax, increase it just enough to hit the shortfalls. Don't worry about all these other projects, like he said.
That's right.
You're gonna have to get all this money. The people have a really disdain taste for any kind of tax increase right now because they're doing everything they can to put food on their table right now. And the last thing they wanna do is commit to a 10-year tax that again, after 10 years might be another 10-year tax. And this is money that is way above, like she said, way above the money that's needed. Like he said, it's gonna be creating a bigger problem later. That if you guys really want the money and you guys have really hit the shortfall, then just go after the little amount of the shortfall, add it on to a gas tax. I don't think,
Okay.
even putting it on the ballot, I really don't think that this is what anybody would want, is to vote for a tax increase.
Okay. Gas taxes have been pulled and proven to be very, very unpopular.
Well, I'm just saying that even now, in this economy, like we're all saying, this economy and with, a report just came out of just how much, a pig disease, so now we can't even buy pork and put it on our table. You know, oh, mad cow disease, you know, now our pork, I mean, I haven't bought regular ground meat, and I don't know since Obama got elected, because it just, and the gas is outrageous. I'm just talking, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I guess it's easier to spend other people's money than if you had to pull it out of your own pocket and pay for it. Because, I mean, our churches do it sometimes when they're spending other people's money. Obama does it when he's spending someone else's money. And this clearly, as the people have said here, very detailed of why this is crazy. To come into this economy at this time with everything. If you really need the shortfall, we feel for you. Believe me, every time we hit a pothole and it throws our tires out of alignment, we feel it. We understand the shortfall. But go for what we need. You guys need to tighten your belt just like we all have to tighten our belt. And to come after that much money, when it's clearly gonna create big problems and more money than we need, I think is just not.
You did mention tightening our belt, and MoDOT has done that to some degree. We've tried to push
Talk
this
into that
thing.
mic, please.
Sure. We have tightened our belt as much as we could. 3 years ago, we went, basically decreased staff by 20%. We reduced the number of districts in MoDOT from 10 down to 7. We eliminated 130 facilities, many of the maintenance facilities.
Well, we don't want people to lose their jobs. That just makes it worse.
I disagree, I do want
well, okay.
fewer people in
Yeah,
government, I do
yeah,
want fewer
okay,
people in
well,
government.
If you can do it less, you are doing it less.
I mean, we're not like attack the people
Sure.
and cut the jobs, but yeah, if they're sitting there looking at an empty screen all day, yeah, then.
95% of that reduction happened through attrition. So it's not like they just walked in one day and said everyone's laid off. It was a very well thought out process. We really looked at where can we cut, where is there some excess. And I tell you, employees are feeling it. They're doing more, significantly more now than what they were.
Are they still unionized and all that, where certain guys can't touch certain things and
We're
they're,
not
projects?
I would disagree with, you said that you cut as much as you could. I think there's very glaring examples of things that could be cut. The barrel bob program is a tremendous waste in my opinion. We're fixing the road here, we're laying the road here, we're repaving here, we're all those signs. 8 of those signs cost my entire tax year. You understand what I mean by my tax year? 8 of those signs cost everything I pay in taxes for that year, for something absolutely unnecessary. And also, I would say that the rate of work zone program, we built 33,000 miles of roads in this state without a rate of work zone program. I think we can do without that. And to Jan's discussion of the dynamic messaging signs, those are, especially on Highway 60 and down here on 55. I mean, in the city where there's huge backups and things like that, maybe, but down here, you're just wasting our money.
The rate of work zones thing is meant to be a help. It's meant for motorists that see problems and are stuck in traffic and you know, people are doing the wrong things. It's meant for them to communicate to us, hey, something's wrong here, someone's going to get hurt. It's meant to be a positive thing.
I understand, and if you weren't coming to me saying, hey, we need more money, then I would say, well, maybe we could do without this program.
And to add to what you're saying, all of our life, all of my 53 years, I've depended on common sense. I really don't need billions of dollars being spent on a sign to tell me. And I think the more that anybody continues to hand down and coddle and take care of, people don't use common sense. And you guys aren't in the business to build common sense. You're in the business to maintain roads. Let the families take care of common sense building.
I completely agree.
Quickly, we have 17 cents state tax on a gallon of gasoline. Can you tell me what that represents in real dollars,
It's right there.
income, revenue?
It's It's right there, $489 million in
Okay, that's-
2013.
That's from the fuel tax itself,
That is only fuel tax.
okay? Have you determined what a 1 cent increase would bring in revenue, additional revenue? It looks like about $9 million.
I've heard that statistic, we have that number, but I don't have it in front of me right now. You might be able to find it, but we do know what
I'll
that
bet he can find it before we do.
I think that, you're saying how much the
By increasing the fuel tax, how much
that
additional
Mark
revenue?
Shelton said
$9.5 million.
it would have to go up maybe 10 cents or maybe even more than that. He said it was a significant
I
amount.
think it would, yeah, it's a significant amount to equal amount.
But we don't need $500 million. We only need 150 to keep us the status quo, which we've already determined. We could cut some things that we don't absolutely have to have
So,
in this economy especially.
some people would argue that you need to spend at least some more money to boost the economy, to,
We've tried that for 6 years.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Throwing money at it doesn't seem to work, does it?
and I'm not, I guess I'm not talking about the construction worker job, I'm talking about, to build areas, improve access to, future industrial parks.
Where do we rank nationwide as far as roads and caliber of roads?
I know our roads are in 85% good condition, the major routes.
I understood
How
we were
they-
right up there in the top 5 or 6 in the nation. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Very likely could be, I don't know those numbers.
Compared to, I understand that's what it is. And I think it was your boss that told us.
And
I'm
he
not
would know-
100%, so-
He would know better than
I'll bet.
The bill is called the Transportation and Jobs Program, and what way is it a jobs program?
I don't know if how is it worded, I don't think it says it's creation of jobs, I think is how it's worded. Again, that goes to the, people, when we went through our long-range plan, they said they wanted economic development. And so we've put projects in there that can hopefully boost economic development. There is some money being spent at the ports that we hope will be economic development. There's some interchange work that should open up some land for economic development.
Should or will?
I can't forecast, what we put in there. That's not really what I do, but that's the thought. In addition to the jobs, then you kind of can't talk about the construction workers that you're going to put to work.
So you're thinking, if you build it, they will come.
I wasn't going to say it that way, but yeah.
But you were thinking it.
I was.
Because it's a truism.
I was.
I want to go back to this advertising campaign, this promotion campaign for MoDOT Cares, and, just really trying to convince people about what a good department or that you are, Department of Transportation that you are. I find that offensive, that you're spending my hard-earned taxpayer money to try to manipulate us into doing whatever you want us to do. I just want you to build the roads and maintain them. I do not want you
Shut up.
to advertise to me about how great you are. Because I can tell by the roads that you're doing a good job. I don't need MoDOT Cares.
It seems like a CYA
And I would like to
project.
know how much you spend on advertising also, because that's a waste.
You go, Linda.
We don't,
You don't call it advertising, we know.
What section is that?
Awareness,
No,
it's awareness.
The point is, we don't leave those turned off when there's not incidents, because we spent money on it.
Well, and I'm
We get
not
some
even talking
benefit.
about those. There's a campaign, because I was called on it, where they brought a bunch of people in, gave them $100 if they would sit and listen to these different phrases. Do you like this way? And it was from MoDOT.
MoDOT would not have done that. There is a campaign out there for Amendment 7. They might have done that.
No, this is a long time ago.
Oh,
Well,
I
no,
can't speak to.
it was maybe a year,
Okay,
a year or so. I mean, you guys
Okay.
had this in the works.
And
But somebody hired a
that might have
campaign to
been
do
part of
it.
our long-range plan.
Yeah.
PR firm?
We did have a consulting firm help us develop our long-range plan. I don't know all
Who
the
paid for the consulting
details.
We do.
MoDOT one, but
But anyway,
We
I
did.
mean,
We
little things like that, I think could be cut back, because you're the only game in town. We're not gonna go to Illinois DOT and have them build our roads. You know what I mean? You're the only game in town. Okay.
We applaud your austerity program and you cutting staff's
Yeah.
locations and so forth. We really do, because we've all had to do it. And when we see it in our own local governments, it makes us really happy
Sure.
that they're at least sharing. But now you come back and you want us another $500 million? Most of us are not real happy about this. We haven't been shown that we either need it, should have it, and we certainly don't want to pay it.
And it puts it in a,
I'd rather see 10 cents on gas, and those of us that use more gas, we'll just have to pay for it. And we pay for the roads that go with it. But these folks that don't even have a car are gonna have to pay for it too. Now, obviously, they use public transportation and so forth, but that's built into it.
Oh, that's another thing.
You know, the property taxes for the apartments I own is built into the rent. So they're paying their share. But
So, another question is, do the cities and counties have to make a list of what they're gonna do with their money, or is that?
they do not have to publish a list for their money, but at the end of every year, we have to talk about the report that comes out of what the money was spent on, and it has to be spent on transportation. And at that time, you would see, hey, they're not spending their money the way they're supposed to, that's not right.
what do you mean where they're supposed to? You said there wasn't any criteria.
Anything for transportation, so if they're not spending it appropriately, then
i.e. a bike path, a walk path.
Well,
That would
I
be
mean,
considered
if-
transportation.
as
The
part
wording
of-
in there says transportation choices.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a wide array of things that you can
Yeah,
just be
ports,
used on.
airports.
Yes, it is.
This is what I was saying earlier. We approved X many dollars for a period of 10 years, and we're thinking we're going to get all of our bridges and our road repaired, and we find out that the money's been spent on transportation, but we got new bridges, new highways, do this, do that. And
Well, we were short, we couldn't pay for the other.
yeah. And then 10 years later, we have to redo it all over again because we still need money for repairs for roads and bridges. And we would have done it had you not built new highways and new, making them wider, bigger.
And that's why there's a project list, so that people know when they vote for this, this is,
There's another,
Oh, yeah,
yes,
there's,
yes, absolutely.
there's another problem
Each
too.
county.
It's on MoDOT's website, MoDOT.org. The project list is out there, every county, every project is all out there. The public comment period is still going on through July 3rd, so you have an opportunity. I encourage everyone to go on the website and let us know what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Please go
There is a small problem that hasn't been discussed. Even though Amendment 7 says that they're not allowed to raise or lower the gas tax, you cannot stop a future legislative body from changing the law, regardless of what it is,
But you can't
short
raise,
of Constitution.
you can't
Well,
raise
this is
taxes.
constitutional change.
Except for Obama.
Yeah,
except for,
You can't raise taxes without a vote.
exactly.
This is a vote.
Regardless of the forbid, if the legislature decides to do it and puts it up to a vote, they come back and say, we're $150 million short, that's why we've got holes as big as cars in our roads, we need more money.
Sure, and that
So-
point, I can't guarantee that won't happen.
That was my point.
We're set up to where that's not the plan.
That's the language today, but it could change tomorrow. I
You know,
understand.
it would take another amendment that would have to be voted and passed.
Besides I-70, what are the other big projects that, I-74, well, we all know, what are the other ones that are holding us?
There was some of the big projects, you'll see 412 in the Boot Hill, 67 being complete, 4 lanes to the state line. There's some,
Is that being done now, started?
We've done some projects in the recent past.
I mean, just 67, is that being started already, or is that brand new with this money?
No, the completion of it, there's one section left to the state line.
So that's gonna be done anyway.
Right.
You know, it might be done, you know, in 10 years, or it might be done in 30 years. You know, I don't know. But it is on the list to be done.
Have we helped you see
Yes,
anything?
yes.
Thank you for
You've
that.
done a very good job. I mean,
You-
you've
you
been
have.
grilled, but you've really, you've
Put
done
you
very
in
well.
the room.
It's okay. That's what we encourage. If you don't say anything, we don't know.
And it's not just your tax, because if it was just your tax, but we've already had a use tax this year. They're talking about a police station tax, they're talking about other taxes, fire district taxes.
Save our kids' taxes.
Yeah,
That's okay.
so all the money that's going to the kids now, that's what I was trying to get at, can you just
Oh, wait till
move
they have
this
to pay
money,
for their new.
the money that's already going, and put that in the general revenue fund, because you now have tax to fund this. That's what they're gonna do with that tax, for the most part. You guys can't do that,
Yeah,
but
that's-
there's what, 7 tax things this year?
Yes.
In this area alone. And that's the problem. I mean, it's not your particular tax, it's just, and that doesn't include any federal government tax increases, which are coming.
That's right.
And these things always encompass building more. When you start it, but the discussion is always, we're falling short of maintaining what we got. Well, then when it comes up, not every time, it's expanding something.
We need to have some more then.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
you know,
gosh.
the idea is to promote economic development, but what the real question is how much.
The idea should not be to promote economic development. That is not your job. Your job is to fix our roads and build any road that we need, but MoDOT should not be trying to spur economic development.
It's coming right down from Washington DC.
Is that because of the matching federal funds that you have to do those projects?
No,
No.
absolutely not. The economic development part came out when we did our long-range plan. That was one of the 4 things that we heard from Missourians that they wanted.
Well, that's what Washington wanted when they gave you money a few years ago. I mean, that's where it really came from.
Sure, that stimulus money.
Yeah, and if we got a problem, let's throw some money at it. Oh, it's other people's money, it's not, it's not a problem.
Well, a lot of that.
I thought 412 was 4 lanes all the way to the Arkansas line.
There's one section that's not complete poorly. I believe it's from Kennett West.
Couldn't be very far, because you'd be in Arkansas.
Yeah, it's a small section, relatively small section.
Back to the revenue that we're looking at for 2013 there. We got, you know, over $1 billion from the federal, we got 489 from fuel taxes, and we say that's going down, right? And when I looked at some of the numbers in there, it was like from 2013 to 2014, the percentage of fuel taxes was going down to like 1%. How far down, and we're saying by 2017, this pie, how much, do we know how much that's gonna shrink in total? Or is it some subset number you're giving us?
I'm giving you a subset number. I'm giving you the construction dollars, the projects that we're going to contract out, the overlays, the bridge replacements. What you're giving, I believe, is more of like MoDOT as a whole, salaries, everything in one. And
So the construction budget was 50% of what you do, right? That's overlays, that's new roads, that's widening, that's all that stuff. Make yourself at home.
I might have to study this.
Your documents,
Make yourself at home. Yeah.
these are your documents.
So construction is that kind of stuff. Overlays, new roads, widenings, bridge replacements and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
What is system management?
I don't know. I'm not a financial
big
person,
chunk.
and I don't know what they're calling that.
It says footnote 2.
I wonder if that's, like salaries.
Cost of personal services for, okay.
There you go.
Fringe benefits, expense, equipment, programs required to maintain highways, bridges, motor carrier services, and highway safety.
Answers to our questions.
So we pay some of the highway patrol out there.
Yes, we do. We do fund highway patrol.
All of highway patrol?
I don't know if we're their whole budget, but we do fund highway patrol.
Anybody else got anything? All right, Brian, well, thank you very much for your Thank you so much for coming out and putting up with our grilling.
Thank you.
I hope I've answered
You did a
your
good job.
questions. I tried to give you as much information as I had.
You gave us good straight answers, and that's what we were after.
Sure. Not really in business.
You don't have to tell
In
us.
case anyone thinks of any more questions, actually I got one there. but-
I have his email address and I have Mark's email address as well.
You go, girl.
Mark was very upset that he couldn't make it tonight. He had another public meeting to attend, but I know he wanted to come.
Those of us that got to see him, we were happy, we were pleased with
You
what he
did
had to
very
say.
well.
Please contact either one of us with any more
Both of
questions.
you did very well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good job, guys. Give him a good grilling. That's what he needed. Good grilling.
She got a good grilling, yes.
He worked all day
You're very
today. He came
brave.
out and got a good grilling from us. Okay.
Thank you.
We really don't have much else to go. Join us over at the Beef Brady's. We've got to do the 50-50 drawing, which we usually have our speaker do the 50-50 drawing. So
Yes.
if you have him pull the ticket for us,
I'm happy to get that done.
and I'll be glad to take my money. What else do we need to talk about? Anything? All right, no more tax meeting tomorrow night. Be here at 6:30. And we will continue to work on that effort on both taxes that are coming up on the August ballot, at least. What?
Is there any instructions what to do right now regarding all the rules coming into this country? Is there anything that us as citizens should do? Do you have any
I
information
sure
on
don't know what to do about it other than continue to contact your representatives.
I would like to.
They
You need to tell them
they are flooding the system. They are doing plowing and pivot right now and flooding the system in every way possible to cause this thing to fail.
Wait,
What are you talking
wait
about?
till the
That's
MS-13 games start across the United States.
What are you talking about, Brian?
Sorry?
Oh, you're talking about the,
Legal immigrants?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the big thing on Drudge yesterday was gang members coming across too.
Great.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
50 number.
744, anybody got those?
So far, so good.
4140.
Who got my ticket?
That's me. 4140, all right. We had $30, $15 is the match. Thank you, sir. Mr. Dix has donated this back.
It's fun to feel like a winner.
Thank you very much.
Just feeling good.
Don't care what anybody else says.
Okay, anything else? Don't forget July 12th, we have our pancake breakfast and celebration of my last day in my 40s.
Last day of the party?
In my 40s.
In my 40s, yes.
I don't think I have it on, or do I have it on there? I don't know, I'm slacking.
You didn't put your birthday on there?
All right, thank you very much, guys, appreciate it, great meeting. Last name.
Yes.